Michaela here. Do you want to say a quick hello, Michaela, in beautiful Dartmouth, I believe?
Done muting myself. Hello, I am Michaela here in Dartmouth. There's Lake Bannock behind me, and I am the secretary for the ICF Atlantic Board.
Awesome. And we also have Gail Boone here, who is on the board. Gail, do you want to say hi?
Hi, I'm Gail, Enfield, Nova Scotia. Glad to be able to be here with you. Thank you for coming.
Awesome. And I think, did I miss anyone? Pat, I know I'm going to hand over to you in a second, but anyone else on the board on the call?
I don't think so. I don't think Brian.
Good morning.
Oh, we do have Brian. Brian, go ahead. Oh. Or maybe that's not Brian. Maybe that's not a voice.
Sheila, I'm just going to make you a co-host so that you can let people in as they come in, and this way I can concentrate on the other stuff.
So just before we get started, we are going to record this session, and I just wanted to let folks know that if you are a non-member and you paid for this session, the board made a decision to make this more accessible and provide all sessions this week, with the exception of the one by Michael Bungay one evening this week. All the sessions are free. So if you did pay, we're going to issue a refund next week. The other housekeeping item is, please introduce yourself in the chat, your name, email, where you're from, and if you would like CCEU credits, we'll get them to you that way. So just throw your email address in the chat. And without further ado, I'll hand it over to Pat to introduce our speaker today.
Welcome, everybody. As Susan said, we're really excited to have Michelle Richards here presenting on emotional fitness. Just one little item, in addition to your email address, could you put your full name, first and last name? Because I know some of you have logged in as your website, and I really need your name for the certificates, and they'll be sent out within the next couple of weeks. So without further ado, I would love to introduce Michelle Galland. Michelle Richards, she's a licensed emotional fitness instructor and a personal coach who offers personal and professional development programs, including emotional fitness coach certification training courses. Michelle graduated from l'Université de Moncton in 1992 with a Bachelor in Education. She pursued her career as an educator in both the public and the private sectors. Within the last 5 years, Michelle has refocused her energies in the fields of holistic therapies, including, among other things, a registered reflexologist and an emotional fitness educator, and which I just find just so fascinating. Michelle believes in the benefits of taking a holistic approach to achieving mental and emotional inner balance, and has dedicated her career to her own and her clients' health and well-being. In 2020, she launched Clinic 3-in-1 Clinique to provide a safe space promoting inner healing. So again, without further ado, I am going to mute myself and hand it over to Michelle.
Well, thank you very much for that introduction, and thank you for everyone for being on this call. I'm so delighted to see all these beautiful faces, and looking at the chat, we have people from everywhere, almost, like, that's amazing. So that's awesome. Yes, so my name is Michelle Richards, and I love emotional fitness. So I'm so delighted to be able to share with you a little bit this approach that has impacted my life greatly, and I'm delighted to be able to do that. So what I'd like us to start with, perhaps, I'm just going to change a few things here. What I'd like to be able to start with this afternoon is to do a little bit of a hands-on experience on listening. Now, as coaches, we listen. That is one of the very first things that we do. But what I'm going to invite you to do today is to listen at first. We're going to start by listening to other people, and then we're going to use a tool that's going to help us listen to ourselves. And so the first part would be the check-in. So we've already put in the chat our name, where we're from, And that was going to be one of my questions for check-in, but that's good. It's done in the chat. So what I'd like to invite you to do right now is, if you'd be up for it, to perhaps just unmute. Thank you for everybody being muted, by the way, to unmute one at a time. And maybe I'll say the name of the person. And you are going to just take a moment and share what kind of coaching you do, or if that's what you do. And the second question, which is an important one, what brought you here today, personally? What brought you here? And I'm going to invite everyone else to just pay close attention, because it's going to be a little test at the end. Not really, but we're going to take a look and see how deeply we listen to the other people. So at this point in time, perhaps I'm going to start with Pat, since Pat, you're the first person I met. Would that be okay with you?
Absolutely.
And just kind of go around, and again, just the two questions, perhaps very quickly, what type of coach I am, and the second, what brought me here today, personally.
Okay, so I'm a leadership and career transition coach. And what brought me here personally, in addition to I'm on the ICF board, so I kind of had to be here, is also because I was super interested in what emotional fitness was and how it could benefit me personally.
Thank you. Thank you. Susan, you're the next one on my screen. If it's okay, I'm just going to kind of go around that way. Susan.
Yeah. My name is Susan Power. I'm in Halifax, Nova Scotia, also on the board with Pat and others. I'm an executive coach, and what brought me here today is I've been feeling out of sorts lately with this pandemic, and I just have not felt like myself. So I thought the topic was really timely, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you, Susan. Michela, I hope I said that right.
You did say it right. Yes, thank you. So my name's Michela Richter. I am a personal growth and leadership coach working mostly with creative entrepreneurs. And what brought me to here today, aside from being on the board, is I'm actually pregnant. I'm having a baby in a couple months, and that's going to be a big change. So I'm certainly finding my way through it and excited to hear what you have to offer.
Congratulations, first and foremost. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Gail.
Thanks. I'm Gail from Enfield, Nova Scotia. I am an equine facilitated coach, and I work with people who are seeking to show up differently, become more aware of how they show up in the world, and deepen their own awareness of self and interaction with others. I too am on the board, and I really believe it's important to support this kind of activity, but also curiosity in terms of the way that you approach this particular topic.
Thank you, Gail, for sharing. Warren.
Thank you, Michelle. So I'm Warren Redman, and I'm well, I was, at any rate, an emotional fitness coach. I've stepped back from the world of coaching over the past couple of years, and I'm now a fiction writer, which is very exciting. But emotional fitness coaching is what I did for 35 years or so. And I'm here to, well, support you, first of all, Michelle, and secondly, for me to learn something. There's always something that I am going to be learning. I'm open to whatever it is.
Thank you, Warren. Jocelyn.
I'm Jocelyn Wadler. I'm from Calgary, and I'm an emotional fitness coach. I'm here to support Michelle and also see how creative she can be in this presentation. I love her creativity.
We kind of lost you there a little bit, Jocelyn, but thank you for sharing. Not sure the last part, but here, thank you. Natalie.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. I'm Natalie Fougier, and I'm an emotional fitness coach in training. I'm actually taking the program right now. Michelle is my instructor, and she's also a great friend. So the reason I'm here as a support for her, but also to know even more about the field of emotional fitness because I'm very passionate about it.
Thank you, Natalie. Christina.
Hello, everyone. I'm Christina McNeil, and I am a emotional fitness coach. What brings me here today? I'm here just to connect with other individuals, maybe like myself or maybe not, and just to learn about what Michelle's going to share from her journey with emotional fitness. And yeah, just to be here as support for myself. It was really nice signing on and seeing how many people are here. So really interested just to absorb and be in the moment, whatever this is going to offer today.
Thank you, Christina. Louise?
Hi, I'm Louise Burley, and the information was shared by Natalie for today's event. I am a successability coach. I help people see their abilities and then achieve the success that they want. And I'm here today to support the organization, ICF, and of course, Michelle. And I'm here to learn too, because we always learn from one another.
Thank you so much. Barbara.
Hi everyone, I'm Barbara from Italy. I'm a personal and business coach, and I'm working with people in life transitions periods. And I was interested in the emotional fitness theme, as I would like to know a little bit more about that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Mary.
Hello, everybody. I am recertified with Michelle as an emotional fitness coach. Currently, I am a school counselor. I have been in the field of education for almost 34 years, and I'm making a big transition. So it was the topic of change that attracted me to Michelle's workshop, as well as to see Michelle in action. I am really quite, I have lots of mixed feelings about transitioning to retirement. And I'm here to learn about the process of transition. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Giovanna.
Hi, Giovanna from Rome, and I am from Rome, Italy, and I am a life and business coach. And the reason why I'm here is because I've been attracted by the title. I must admit that in spite of being an ACC coach, I never heard about emotional fitness coaching. So it's totally new for me, and I'm here to listen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Authentic Maverick. Keaton.
Morning, everyone. I'm Keaton Van Bryce from Calgary. I'm the Authentic Maverick. I've been a coach in many different things, many sports, and I was a personal trainer when I was introduced to the concept of emotional fitness by Warren Redmond in Calgary. I looked at it as an opportunity to be able to listen to my clients. And I discovered that by listening to my clients, I had a much higher client retention. So I became a certified emotional fitness coach, and I just recertified. I'm here today to support Michelle and like a lot of other people, learn some new things.
Thank you. Karen? I'm not sure if I said that right. I've never seen it spelled that way. C-A-R-A-N.
Yeah,
Karen?
it's me. I'm a professional development coach and I work around the Enneagram, and I'm always interested in learning other techniques of introducing people to their emotions and how to dig deeper. And personally, I know that I need to also be doing continual work emotionally so that I can take my clients in their emotions.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. Sandy?
Hi, so I'm Sandy and I'm in California actually. And I am delving into the relationship coaching field, particularly people who practice alternative type relationships. And I have a partner, we're going to be doing this together. This topic appealed to me because, you know, I'm going through changes with like a typical 9-to-5 job and then, you know, kind of veering out into the coaching world. I've been doing social services for many, many, many years, and I tend to do some sort of coaching in my work. And so it's kind of a natural path for me. And so anyway, when I saw this topic, I thought, oh, I need to work on my emotional fitness in order to help my clients have emotional fitness. And, you know, we know, especially in relationships, that's going to be important when things like conflict come up. So thank you for having me here today.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. Shiloh.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm an emotional fitness coach as well in the infant stages of my development. Also a boxing coach, and I'm merging both of them. And currently in the automotive industry, looking to kind of get out of that industry and hopefully start a full-time coaching career.
Thank you so much, Shiloh. And Kenneth, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, so correct me, please.
That's correct. My name is Kanat. I'm right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Kanat. I'm joining from Halifax. Actually, I'm a professional life and relationship coach, along with career as well. I just came to Halifax 2 weeks ago, and I'm excited to be joining a new group within the Atlantic bubble. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to join you and get to know about this network within the International Coaching Week. And by the way, I celebrate to you all the Coaching Week.
Thank you. Welcome to the bubble. Tammy.
Hello, everyone. I am an executive coach, and I am here to learn about the topic, which is relatively new to me, although I do have Warren's book. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. Kathleen?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Katalin Benda. I'm from Hungary, and I'm joining from my little pottery workshop. I'm here just to listen to you because I'm studying life coaching, and I'm so much interested in this idea and curious what's the content behind the idea of emotional fitness. It's so exciting. So thank you very much for the opportunity for joining today.
Thank you so much for sharing that. My daughter-in-law is from Hungary, so nice. Thank you. Deborah.
Hi, I'm Deb. I'm from Minnesota. I am a recovery coach, and the reason that I am here today is a firm belief in I cannot transmit what I don't have. So I'm always interested in learning new and other ways to support both myself and others. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Deb. Christina.
Hi, good afternoon. Nice to be with you. I'm from Lisbon, Portugal, and I am an executive coach, certified, and I coach people. I coach human beings. So Mainly, I use the tribal wisdom so that I can put people in touch with our own nature. And I am here, Michelle, because I've never heard about being an emotional fitness coach. This is new for me, and I'm sure that I will be learning a lot with you and with you all as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Christina. SC.
Hello everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, you can call me SC or Seokjin from Malaysia. So I'm start practicing as a coach, internal coach, and actually today I'm here to learn a new learnings which I understand about emotional fitness and how this emotional fitness actually can help in terms of coaching processes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Karuna?
Yeah, hi everyone. Glad to be here. I'm Karuna from Dallas, Texas, and I'm actually transitioning after a 2-decade, stint in the food service arena and supply chain, and recently got certified from an ICF accredited coaching school. So I'm here as a newbie, learning everything I can in this wonderful week. So glad to connect with everybody.
Thank you so much. Liliana.
Hello, everybody. I'm Liliana. I'm Colombian, but I'm living in Brazil with a long time career in human resources. And actually, I'm a life coach and health coach. I'm interested just a lot about emotional fitness coaching. And because of the curiosity of that, I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Wafa?
Hi, I'm Dr. Wafa from Saudi Arabia. I'm a strategic planner. I got interested in coaching 2018 and happy coaching week for everyone.
Thank you. And Shireen?
Hello, my name is Shireen from Lebanon. I work with the United Nations, and as many other colleagues, have never heard the term emotional fitness. I've never heard those two terms combined, so I'm very interested. I'm gonna go through my first coaching experience soon, so I've got a lot to learn. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think I got everyone. I noticed that the screens moved on me at the last minute, but is there someone that did not have a chance, an opportunity to just share? I think we got everyone. Okay. All right. So here's the test. And we're all graded on this. So I would love to invite anyone who wants to share what you have heard, if possible, from 3 people that you did not know until these last 10, 15 minutes. So anything that you picked up from 3 people, perhaps what they do as a coach, perhaps where they're from, perhaps the reason that they have chosen to be here today. Who would like to be the first volunteer to try this? And we're just there's no test, there's nobody, but this just is part of that listening, practice. So who would like to offer that? You can put your hand up or just unmute even.
I'll go because I found it all really super duper fascinating. So Shiloh, what really intrigued me about your story is that you're becoming an emotional fitness coach, but you're also trying to combine it with boxing, which I thought was super, super interesting. And I'm going to combine 2 other people. So Barbara and Giovanna, I instantly felt a kinship to them because they're from Italy and I was born there. And so I felt a kinship with them, and they're both interested in career transition coaching as well, and helping people transition through points in their life as well. And Christina in Portugal, I connected with you because I have another coach friend who's actually in the Algarve right now. She's a Canadian and she's in Portugal living there for the last year. She's a Portuguese Canadian. And so when I heard from you that you're an executive coach in Lisbon, one of the cities I really would love to travel to one day, it resonated with me. That's it.
Thank you. Is there someone else that would like to share? Yes, Sandy.
So, okay, so I had to pull up the list of names because I can't, that's a challenge sometimes. So Louise, I was really taken with the term successibility coach. I think that's very cool. I like that combination. And I think what resonated with me about that is I worked with people with disabilities for a long part of my career, and a lot of my work with them was to be successful, you know, and so not fall back on the disability, but to learn different ways to do things sometimes. That was awesome. Shiloh, I think we all kind of heard yours. I think that was really cool, the combination of the boxing and then bringing this into that. And I have a love of, I think sports are really important for people's confidence and well-being. So I think that mesh is just fabulous. And then Warren, a fiction writer, you're like I'm going to live vicariously through you for a little while because that's like my dream when I retire is to just write a book. So, so that's awesome. And then I wanted to say to Michaela, congratulations. I don't know if it's your first baby, but how exciting. It's being a parent makes you strong and vulnerable at the same time. And so that's an awesome transition in life. And thank you.
Thank you, Sandy, for sharing that. So perhaps just one more person would be able to share what you heard. So I see Keaton's hand up there. Go ahead.
Yes, Christina Madeira. It kind of connected with me because I really like Madeira wine from Portugal and I do a lot of cooking with it. And Shiloh, I was in the same place you are coaching sports and starting out, and I found that my customer retention went up by 35% after getting involved in emotional fitness and listening to people. And like Warren, I've started writing fiction in the last 5 or 6 months, and I'm enjoying writing fiction. And I can't remember that lady's name. She moved from the top corner here. Shyla, or she's going to have a baby. And that kind of, to me, that was really interesting. Someone who is looking forward into the future and learning, going to learn how to listen to somebody who isn't here yet. So to me, that was very interesting. So
thank you. Thank you, Keaton. So if we take a look at all these beautiful glimpses into every single person who's been on this call, one of the ways to further the concept of listening power. So we're not going to delve much more into listening power. We're going to go through another tool that is called Life Scale. And each one of you is going to be able to actually go a little bit deeper for yourself and take a look at that. But if I was to continue with the whole concept of listening power at this point in time, I might ask someone like Sandy, for example. I heard you say, Sandy, the words of not fall back on my disability. So what does that mean for you personally? Not fall back on my disability.
So in regard to when I said that, it was actually referring to my clients. And I think that there's a perception sometimes in this world that the disability is the thing that people stumble over, right? That people struggle with, when really it's just a different way of living. So there's, there's studies that show that people who are blind, the neurons in the brain form stronger other senses, to help them survive. And so that's, fall back on. I think that's a perception that when I was working with folks with disability that I fought against, that I was an advocate against. And so advocacy is a big part of my life in many ways. People with disabilities, I'm doing advocacy for suicide prevention right now. And so the shackles go up a little bit for me when people, look sideways at somebody who's different than them. And I think that carries over into my wanting to do relationship coaching for alternative style relationships, is that helping people develop strength, right? Resiliency. And so that was a lot of the work that I did with people with disabilities, was resiliency.
Mm. So we're, just because of our time, we could continue on this topic. And at this point, if I continue to work with Sandy, for example, if that's what I was doing, and Sandy wanted to explore that, or if Sandy wants to explore that further for herself, she listens to what she's just shared there and would actually go into, what does advocacy mean for me? What does it look like when I offer advocacy? How important is that? So really going deeper inside of that terminology, there's quite a few terminologies there that I don't use, for example. And so these are very personal for you. And it's to go deeper into that concept and see, what emotion does that raise inside of me? How do I connect with it? How do I feel? You mentioned shackles go up for me. So what do shackles mean for you and going up? So that concept of going a little bit deeper within that concept. So in listening power, it's about offering, if I'm with a client and my client starts to share something, it's to offer the ability for my client to hear what's going on inside, for her, for him. What does this mean? The terminology that we use is very specific to me. It's not probably terminology that necessarily the people around me use. So I've heard all kinds of different expressions from clients that I've never heard before, or have known anyone else who's used that terminology. So this is very much about going deeper inside, or offering listening to someone, giving back, so that person's able to hear at a much deeper level what's going on, and then find their answer. What do I want to do with this? How do I feel being an advocate? How do I feel when I'm surrounded by, people who are, perhaps, as the terminology, like within the disability community, when I'm working with people like that, or that, whatever the terminology is. So I won't add any more than what you've shared, but how do I feel when I'm in that position? Is this making me feel happy about it? Do I enjoy this? Do I feel empowered to do it? And am I using my voice? And I'm still feeling at peace, a joy, a calm? Is this raising up anger? Is this anger serving me? So it's really about connecting and understanding my emotions through it. So thank you for sharing that. That's that first little part of that check-in. I suppose the question is, at this point in time, is finding my way through change with emotional fitness. So the title for the ICW is Finding Our Way Through Change. But if I take a look at myself, as I've heard on the call, for one person, it may be frustration with the way that the coaching has been taking place in this last year and a half. This has been a big change for a lot of people. For someone else, it was about retirement. For someone else, it's about starting my coaching career. For someone else, it's about, being pregnant. And so everybody has their own changes in life, but I have to look at my changes. What do they look like? So finding my way through change. And every my represents a me. And when you put a whole bunch of me's together, then we have the R, the us. So that's really the difference. If we're creating a plan together, well, that's called collaboration. So it's going to be our plan. So we're moving forward as a group. But if it's about looking inside of what's going on, I can't say we're all struggling. I've been included sometimes in statements like that, where when the statement was done, I'm like thinking to myself, well, I'm not really struggling, or I'm not really sad. No, I'm not. But so it's about not making that statement that represents everybody if that's not the case. It's about, I can speak for myself. That's who I can speak for. So having said that, I want to share a little something with you. A few years back, something came up for me because I had kind of lost my own inner belief system. I had absorbed other people's beliefs and other people's programming and kind of lost myself. And one of the things that came up for me at that time was the miracle, if you will, of my existence. Every single person who's alive today, the probability, according to a researcher, a study that was done, is near zero for each one of us to be alive. If you think about the actual number is 1 in 10 to the power of 2,685,000. So that means that for me to be alive, I'm important. And there's something inside of me that I can connect to, which are my beliefs, my understanding. What are my emotions? Where are they? So it's about taking a look at that instead of always R is what's going on inside. So with that said, that's how I find my way through change, no matter what that change is going to be. And the book, Emotional Fitness, which I have behind me there, I'll just show you very quickly. This is the book. And of course, the author and the creator is Warren, who's on the call with us today. So what is emotional fitness? I'm just going to briefly go through it. It's 9 different tools. It's an entire approach that offers myself. I can listen to what's going on inside, and I can also offer deep listening to people around me, giving them an opportunity to listen and to own into what's happening at their own level. And based on this, there's an entire program, a coach certification course that is offered. There's personal and professional development courses, workshops for groups and businesses. This can be applied on an individual basis, but it can be applied at work, in businesses, in schools, all over the place. So it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I'd just like to give a moment for Warren to maybe say a few words, and then we're going to hop straight into that beautiful tool to practice it. So just a little bit about Warren. He's drawn from nearly 30 years of experiences as a psychotherapist, personal development trainer, coach, and a lifelong learner to produce this book, a book of immense significance and value to people who seek greater personal fulfillment. Influenced by some of the finest teachers and thinkers of the last 50 years, Warren has created a synthesis of 9 steps for a new century that has already seen enormous upheaval. Based on the training courses offered, this book is a practical guide for a life of meaning, fulfillment, and happiness. And I'd just like to invite Warren to maybe say a couple of words, and then we'll hop into life scale right away.
Thank you, Michelle. I feel a bit embarrassed now. First of all, I should say that I'm really delighted to be back into the ICF crowd here. I was a member of the ICF in Calgary when I was there. In fact, I was president for a while. And when I came to New Brunswick, I got involved with the very New Brunswick chapter of ICF, and was part of the development and the founding of the Atlantic ICF. So it's really nice to be back here. And I was, until I really stepped back from coaching after 2018 or so, I was MCC. I had my designation for that. And I think I was the only one in Atlantic Canada. I don't know if there's anyone else now. It was a bit lonely out there. At any rate, so that's a bit about my connection with ICF and coaching. As far as emotional fitness is concerned, I'll try and get 30 years into 30 seconds. And really just to say, and I think this is in line with what you're sharing, Michelle, that my work on emotional fitness really came from my own personal experience of my own personal growth. And I've heard a lot of people talk about that here. And then really stopping and reflecting and looking at what worked for me, because I had huge transitions that went on, partly as a result of some of those teachers you mentioned. And so I spent a long time looking at what it was that worked for me, and figuring out that if it worked for me, these things might work for other people too. So there were 9 tools or steps that I developed, and I discarded many things that didn't work for me as well, and put those together, started working with others and trying them out, experimenting. People said, write it down. So I wrote stuff. So this, in other words, has been out of my own personal experience rather than out of theoretical learning, although a lot of that is connected with it as well. The work that we're all doing goes back a long way to people like Freud and Jung and Adler and so on, and right the way forward to coaching. I was coaching in the early 80s when coaching didn't really exist. So we were playing with things and it was a whole lot of fun. I think it's a wonderful way of offering who we are, our unique selves, to people in the world. So that was my contribution. Now I love fiction writing. I will add one thing. I'm picking up from Michelle, who's pregnant, having a baby. I've just had my 3rd, wait for it, great-grandchild. And it is that all of it is life-changing. So I'll shut up now. Thank you for doing this, Michelle.
Thank you for sharing, Warren. So without further ado, let's go right in. So I'm going to invite you to grab yourself something to write if you don't have it yet, with a pencil, pen, something, whatever, and a journal if you want to keep this, paper. And this is really going to be very personal. So you are going to write something, go as deep as you want to go, and you do not have to share it. I may invite a few people to volunteer if you choose to at the end, but know that you do not have to. And I'm going to guide you through, facilitate you through the tool called Life Scale. Now, Life Scale can be used with everything. We can use it as a work scale. I've heard a lot of executive coaches here. A lot of people work one-on-one. They work with groups. You can use this as a scale for anything. It can be relationship scale if you work with a couple or couples. You can use it for parenting scale, and so on. So today you are going to title it the way that you want to title it. And it's going to be around the changes that have occurred for us in the last 15 plus months. So I'm not going to call it what the world has kind of called it. I'm just going to call it 2021 changes. You name it, whatever you want to name it. And you're going to, we're going to have 4 indicators. Now, generally the life scale has 10. And these 10 indicators represent the satisfactions versus the frustrations. And no need to probably go deep into this, but the idea is that the higher our satisfactions, the more I will feel this sense of inner balance. The higher my frustrations in life, then the more I'm feeling that my life's not fully in balance. So if I'm in a work situation, the same thing applies. What are our frustrations in this work environment versus our satisfactions versus our frustrations, etc. So having said that, we're going to also have a period at the end. I want to leave at least 15-20 minutes for any questions at all that you may have for myself or for Warren, giving an opportunity for Q&A, for statements or insights, anything that's happened to you. I think that's it. So we're going to take about maybe 25 minutes, depending, give or take, on the time, leaving for sure that 15. And I will ask a few volunteers at the end. So the first thing that you want to do is bring your attention. So you've been probably working this morning, or you were busy with the kids or something else. Just bring your attention to the last year and a half and especially how you feel today. And you are going to write this first word down, pleasure. So you can either take a deep breath, bring that attention to this time, in this moment, nothing else, how I feel today, and on a scale to 10. So write the word pleasure, and right beside that word, you're going to put down, on 10, how do I feel today? And so just write that number down, whichever number comes to you first. And once you've written that number, then take a look and see how much pleasure in life, in my work, do I have? How much pleasure in my leisure overall do I have? My number. And what does that mean? So take a couple of minutes here. I'm just going to give about maybe 1 to 2 minutes at the most. But you are going to actually take the time to write down what that means for you personally, that word pleasure. Thirty seconds left. Okay, so and if you want to continue this scale later, you can always come back. Remember, this is your own personal scale. So at any time, you can come back during the day or in a day or 2 days or 3 days and redo it. Take a look at what you wrote to try to understand, is there something else that I feel at this point in time, to expand on that. So now I'm going to invite you to write the second word. And the second word is pain. And again, on a scale of 10, whichever number comes first to you, how much pain, whatever that means for you, do I feel I have on 10? 0 being none, 10 being a lot. You choose that number. And when you're ready, take a few moments, few minutes to write down, what does that mean to me? What does my pain look like right now in regards to the changes in my life, etc.? few more seconds here. Okay, so I've written about pain, and I'll share with you the other indicators that we've skipped over later after. But the next one is power. And again, this is whatever power means for you. But how much power do I feel I have with the changes in my life, the changes occurring? How much power do I feel I have? What's your number on 10? And then take a few minutes and write and describe what that means for you. Okay, finishing up a few seconds here. Okay, so looking at the fourth word is poverty. And again, your personal definition of what that word means. How much poverty do I feel I have? Scoring on 10, and then writing whatever that looks like and feels like at this moment.
Hi, Christina. Yeah, the word is poverty, exactly how you put it in.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, just a few seconds here. Okay, so I see pens continuing or pencils continuing. That just goes to show when I stop for a moment and I take a look at some of these satisfactions and frustration, I can really write a lot about it because I'm really going inside to find out, like, where do I sit and stand with this? So at this moment in time, I would love to have somebody who feels comfortable being a volunteer to even share your choice. You can share any one of the four, but just sharing what you wrote, your score and what you wrote, just to show the second step to this. Because there is a step, what we call clarifying. And so clarifying is not for me to learn and to get more personally as a coach or as a listener. I'm not curious to go into the details of the person, but I want to listen so that I can give back and invite that person to go deeper within. So do I have a volunteer for this particular section? Okay, so I'm going to invite.
I can go.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sure. Sounds good, Michelle.
Okay. Pleasure. I'll go with pleasure. So I put pleasure. I put an 8 in this moment. I'm in the sunshine. And to me, it means comfort, joy, pleasing elements, experiences, sensations in the moment, like a feeling of gratitude for the circumstances of this moment. Like that's something that's really become in the forefront for me through this pregnancy, is just like find the pleasure in the moments that it arrives, because there's a lot of pain too.
So you shared a lot there. So the concept of finding my comfort, you're enjoying being in that sunshine, the experience that you're going through and being in this moment right now. But you used also being in the moment, finding the pleasures in the moment because there's a lot of pain.
Yeah.
So what does that feel and look like for you to find the pleasure in the moment?
To me, it feels like really tuning into my senses. What is my experience in this moment? So what am I feeling physically often is where it starts for me. It's like, okay, I feel comfortable. There's an absence of discomfort right now. And what are the elements contributing to that? Generally, it's some external factors, like right now, the sunshine, the beautiful weather, or it might be like the circumstances of my life in this moment, just having gratitude for that.
Okay, so mentioning the concept of physical is important because that physical comfort at this moment in time, but also the gratitude. And really the first component was just going into my senses. And when you go into your senses, that means?
Well, for me, I suppose everything's very visceral. I'm a highly sensitive person, so I'm very aware of if I'm feeling anxious, there's like a tension in my chest and it's difficult to breathe. If I'm feeling calm, there's more openness, there's more flow and ease. My breath is more even, and my body feels more relaxed. So it's very much like a visceral experience. Pleasure.
So then going from those components, bringing it to the concept that I'm very sensitive, I'm very aware, and I'm very much, when I'm experiencing anxiety, when I'm anxious physically, I'm actually, my body's responding to it. Feeling that tightness or, okay. So when you take a look at your number, what was your score for pleasure?
8.
8 on 10. So at this moment in time, being out in the sun, I'm feeling comfortable. And so my level of anxiety sounds like lower, being 8 on 10, just enjoying this moment. So this is my pleasure, is an 8 on 10. Okay. So thank you very much, Michelle, for sharing that. Now, the tougher one is the ones that come after, oftentimes are these frustrations. Are you up for trying a frustration, sharing a frustration? The
Me?
next one, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So pain, I put in this moment, it's a 3. Pain, it's showing up physically in this moment in my lower back. Like there's just always something right now that's off. And it's been a very difficult pregnancy in terms of just nausea, heartburn, exhaustion, physical pain. I'm 32 weeks and it's still all here. Like it's still first trimester for me. And so that's been really challenging. That's really dropped my energy levels and my ability to be as productive as I'm used to. And I just started my business full time in the past year. So it's been, last year I was like hustling and getting all this stuff done and building my business. And then the pregnancy just kind of like slowed me right down. And so there's also been an emotional and mental component to the pain of like grieving the abilities I had before this and the productivity that I had, and going on mat leave soon and having to sort of set that my business self aside and make this shift into a new way of being has been a grieving process. I'm excited about it, but it's also painful in that way.
Yeah, so again, there's a lot there that is physical, again, very similar to pleasure, a lot of physical, and then here again with the actual physical pains, etc. And then bringing it full circle to that emotion of grief or grieving, and you've mentioned that several times. So grieving in the sense of my business that I just started in the last year, and I was like hustling. Very physical action again to hustle. And so what does grieving look and feel like when you're what does grieving, so I'm grieving, you mentioned it several times.
Oh, again, it's it's visceral. It's like when I let myself into it, initially I avoid it, and then when I actually allow myself into the experience of grief, it's it's just all consuming, kind of like, I don't know, it's like a tension, it's like a release, sobbing, just freely crying, just letting it out. So it's sort of like a build up and a release. If I were to try.
Yeah. So you kind of froze, kind of lost you there. I saw yeah, are you back? No. Okay. So we kind of lost you there for a moment. But it's like you talked about the release. So it's that build up and then that release is what I'm able to do within my concept of grieving what's happened. Okay. So thank you so much for being that volunteer today. So we're gonna kind of move on to the second section of this second part of this. So at this moment in time, with your client or with yourself, you go into each one of these statements that you've written and you dissect them. You want to learn, what does this mean for me? What does it mean to grieve? What does it look and feel like when I'm grieving? Because this is very specific to, for example, for you, Michelle, this is your terminology. It may not be the terminology of another person, but you relate directly to what this means for you. So each person on the call today, whatever you wrote, it is very, very personal and it means everything to you. That is your understanding. So at this point in time, I'm going to invite you to come back to the first one again, that pleasure. And now you are going to write on that scale of 10. You can do it below if you don't have space. But you are going to, put on 10 again, what is my ideal in pleasure? So in Michela's case, it was an 8 on 10. What is my ideal? Is it still 8, 8.5, 9, 10? What is my ideal? And you decide that. So this time we're going to have a little less time to do this. You are going to write that ideal number, and beside it, I want you to look at what does the ideal mean for me and what's the difference between the two, and only write that difference. So what's the ideal and what does that look like and what's the difference between the two, and write that down. So you have about a minute. So without interrupting, just to make it go a little bit faster, you are going to do the same thing for the next three. You're going to take a look at your pain, at your power, at your poverty. You're going to write your ideal score. What would you like it to be? And you are going to write what is the difference between the two, and just write that difference. So I'm going to give you a few moments here to be able to do the next three in a row. It will take one more minute to finish those up. Okay, so again, at any time you can come back to this and go into more into details. So the idea now is that I've just taken a look at my score at this moment based on how I was feeling, etc. Now I've looked at the ideal, I've looked at the difference between the two. Now I have enough information that I should be able to write a little action plan. This is what we invite our clients to do is, what's the next step? So take a moment here, take a look at your difference, especially within that first score and that second score, the difference. What can you do about what you've discovered about yourself to help change and get to that ideal? So take 1 minute here to just write a brief action plan. Okay, just a few seconds here. So what I'd like to invite, I don't know, Michelle, if you feel up for it, but would you share a little bit of that action plan just to show, because people got to see your pleasure and your pain, what you came up with, and then it gives an idea.
I kept it pretty simple. I just wrote focus on choices that bring me to a present, grounded, and empowered place. And some things I wrote down were breath work, meditation, connection, creativity, growth and learning, values of mine that I can align myself with to help bring me to that present, grounded, and connected, empowered place.
Yeah, right. Because that's the place where I have the least anxiety, etc. Yeah. So thank you. Okay. So having shared that, thank you for sharing, Michelle, as well for that last part. I find my own answers. I don't need to go out and get someone else's answers. And that's what Michelle just shared with us, is that the answers were within. They are within. And as I continue to do my work, whatever that looks like, it may shift at different times, but I'll find those answers. I haven't, come to this point in my life with nothing. There's been so many things that I've learned to this point in time. So having said that, we've come to the end of that little practice. I'll just briefly share the other words with you that we go through when we do the indicators. If you want to write them down, it's after pleasure and pain, it's purpose and problems. Then place and prejudice, and peace and pressure. And you'll notice that there are 5 of those that are satisfaction and 5 are frustration. So just say them very quickly one more time. Purpose and problems, place and prejudice, peace and pressure. So I'm going to just share 2 little quotes, one that comes from Warren and one that comes from me within my own personal journey. So Warren wrote in his book, a little quote from him: the journey into our emotions, into inner space, is possibly the last great journey left for humankind. And I'm a strong believer in my voice, my choice. And I'm a strong believer also in that concept that my life is a miracle, period. The fact that I'm alive today had to be the exact 2 people who met the exact timing. It could have been some other person. It would not have been me. So the fact that I'm alive, I'm a miracle. Therefore, to hear and connect with my voice, my own choice of beliefs, my own choice of if I want to accept some part of programming, it's my choice to do that. So going through life knowing my voice, getting to know me, I experience inner balance through my choice. And that's very important. So at this point in time, I'd love to invite you to, if you have questions, anything about emotional fitness or what you've experienced today, or if you have insights even that you'd like to share, something that came up when you did your pleasure, pain, power, and if you want to share poverty, if you want to share any insights, I'd love to hear from you. And we'll just kind of take the last few minutes to do that. And I'm at eFit for Life is where you can find me.ca, efitforlife.ca. And I offer coach certification training, also personal and professional development, work with groups, businesses, setting up workshops. It can be a day or 2-day workshop, and one-on-one coaching as well. And there's nothing for me in emotional fitness. The beautiful part for me personally is that I don't have to bring my emotions into my coaching. I leave myself out. I bring the approach of emotional fitness and I park myself. If there's something that comes up while I'm listening to a person share, then I'm going to go do my work later on, because that means there's something that I need to work on. But other than that, when I'm with somebody, so it doesn't matter what that person may be sharing with me at that time. It doesn't bother me because I'm not bringing myself in. I'm just listening and giving back and giving the opportunity for that person to find his or her answer. A lot of people have experienced trauma in life. So there's a lot of experiences in our past, whether childhood, teenage years, or adult years, that kind of keep creeping up and being a part of us, beliefs, programs, all kinds of things. So it's about giving the person an opportunity to hear what's happening there. Are there any questions or any insights that you'd like to share? Mary, I see your hand. Yeah.
Yeah. Michelle, I would like to know what helps you to leave yourself out. Like,
I'm not really sure how to answer that. All I know is that when there's nothing that a person can talk about that bothers me, nothing at all. So whatever that person's talked about, it doesn't, there's nothing that I feel uncomfortable with. That's the first thing. Two, I'm not, I really strongly believe that if every person is a miracle, that means that I live and let live, I am and I let be. So therefore, I'm not going to bring my thoughts of what that person should or shouldn't do. I totally am able to, that's that person, I am who I am. And when I am there, I literally am there for one purpose, and that's to listen and to knowing the emotional fitness approach and the tools that I can use, I can navigate through that. Last week, I believe we had an EFIT for women, so it's just for women. And at that time, we started. There's a couple women here who were on the call, and I don't remember. We started with one tool, and within that tool, there was the concept of a person. That person was also sharing that there was this dream that kept recurring. Well, in emotional fitness, we don't go analyze the dream. We simply take the dream as though it is part of your own subconscious that is speaking to you about you. And so we went from the first tool, and then we hopped into a very brief dream time, and giving that person an opportunity to connect her own dots and discover where she was within each component of that. So I don't know, it's just about knowing my tools. Nothing bothers me, and just being able to offer my undivided attention and just giving back, however that may look.
Okay.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Can I jump in? Brian Duggan here. Nice to see you, Michelle. Thank you. Thank you for this. And I'm sorry I missed the first part. I love the process and the time for reflection. The thing that perturbed me, which is a good thing, is the word poverty. Automatically, I thought of economic poverty and the privilege that I have. But then I quickly went to, 40 years ago, when in spirituality, I studied poverty of spirit and searched for poverty of spirit, which may be more about what it's all about today for me. So I don't have any idea what the EFIT framework means by poverty. And I would expect that it's going to be you figured out yourself. However, I see some nods, so I'll just leave it at that. But I just think that's a wonderful word for our time. So unless you have anything else to say, that's great for me. Thank you. Anything else to say about that? I'm good. Okay.
Thank you so much for sharing. That's a beautiful insight. And it goes to show how you took the word, it became your definition, whatever it meant for you at this moment in your life. And then it's about going deeper. So creating, like writing down everything that it may mean. And then what your ideal is, writing down everything that difference is, and asking yourself, clarifying that around that concept. So if, it meant this, and I stopped doing that. Well, why did I stop doing that? What has happened? So it's to just go deeper within that concept, and then what do I want to do with that?
Yeah,
What's
and
my
in the process, I couldn't quantify anything. So I just want to let you know I got stopped. But I was stopped at not a bad place.
You can always call me. We can do a coaching session, Brian.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Michelle. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to ask a question or perhaps share a little bit of an insight in this, whatever this was for you? Yes, Karen.
Hi, I just wanted to touch on what you'd mentioned about a lot of people experiencing trauma. And obviously we filter our clients to a certain extent at the beginning, just to be sure that they're the right fit and they're emotionally stable enough to be able to do work like this. But I am curious, in your experience, if it's come up where people have unresolved trauma that they didn't really know they needed to work with, or maybe they've been through therapy, but there's still, you know, obviously layers upon layers, then maybe they haven't dug into all of those layers. And so this brings up something. And so I'm wondering how you would address an exercise like this if it were to bring up some unresolved trauma in a client. And then just quickly before you answer, I just want to touch on what Mary said too. I think one of the best ways to leave your own emotions and leave yourself at the door is to do your own deep emotional work first. So just a thought. Thanks, Michelle.
100% agree with that last statement. And thank you for reminding me of that, because I did a lot of that work over the span of quite a few years actually. So thank you for sharing that, Karen. So yeah, we have different tools within, again, emotional fitness that can help the client, whatever that may look like. You know, I taught for 25 years, and to be honest with you, the percentage of people who go through trauma, children who go through trauma, is probably way higher than what we can even imagine. So having said that, and Mary's on the call and she's got 30 years experience as a counselor in the school system. So the numbers would be staggering and would just completely shock us. But having said that, chances are that when I'm going to be working with a client who needs to go deeper into whatever situation, that client is going to go and open up, you know, it's going to bring them back to something. But there's no need to go into that place, because that's for the therapist to go do. But what we can offer is the opportunity for that person to hear themselves and then to come out. There's always that beautiful transition into an action plan. That action plan could lead them to go find a counselor or to go somewhere else. But there's always that beautiful transition. And oftentimes I've had a lot of clients who have had some very, very deep traumatic issues and situations. And each time when we go into a session based on where they're wanting to go, they go into the session feeling high frustrations, coming out of the session with much lower frustrations. And so that is the goal. Focus on those satisfaction, build the satisfaction, give an opportunity for the client to see for themselves. And as the satisfaction start to open up, and there seems to be an answer and an action plan to increase the satisfaction, then the frustrations all of a sudden just seem to come down. And I'd like to give Warren an opportunity to share, because he's got way more years of experiences in this than I do. And, you know, obviously having developed emotional fitness, to share a little bit about that.
Well, I think you pretty much answered it. And the question that Mary posed, for example, I think is really important. How do we get out of the way? How do we remove ourselves, as it were? Well, of course, we're always with the person, but we're not in their situation. And one of the first people I ever saw many years ago taught me something really important. Actually, most of the clients I've ever had that have been my real teachers said to me on our first session when we set a contract, I feel as though I'm standing in a pool of muddy water. I would like you to hold my hand, but don't jump in. I learned a whole lot from that. It took me a while, but I learned a whole lot from that. And really what I learned was just to repeat it, I have to do my own work. Someone said right at the beginning in our check-in, I can't offer to, a paraphrase, I can't offer to other people what I don't already have myself. So that's why the training for emotional fitness coaching is actually first and foremost our own inner work. Because when we have that, we can help to put our stuff on our shoulder, out of the way when we're listening to someone else. As far as trauma is concerned, it's pretty hard, I think, to be human and not to have trauma in life. I mean, what have you been doing if we missed it, right? Now, how we deal with it can be very different from person to person. And that, in a way, is the kind of the emotional strength that we have to deal with some of the same things that other people may have, we'll deal with differently. We all have had loss that we'll have grieving for, but does it submerge us completely for the rest of our lives? If we do our work, it doesn't, or if we're made up of something different from someone else, then it doesn't as well. But as you said, we do have tools. That one of them is called the time capsule, for example. Again, none of the work we do offers guidance and advice, but it does reach into the individual to help them empower themselves, to have the conversations within to help them move forward and move on and to take the action in their lives. I don't know what else you would like me to say. I could take another 3 hours, but I won't. I'll stop there. And really thank you for doing this, Michelle, and thank you for everyone for being on. It's a great group here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle and Warren, on behalf of our chapter, ICF Atlantic. This was a really interesting session. The 90 minutes just flew by, and it reminded me of the online learning this morning. I heard my 8-year-old online, and the teacher went around and asked each child, how are you feeling, you know, with the switch from classroom to online learning? And the theme that was coming forward was incredible frustration and just, you know, the trauma that children face with COVID-19 pandemic was just what was running through my mind, and just building that emotional fitness when you're a child and you're just, you know, we're still all trying to figure it out, but as a child, it's so hard and difficult. So anyways, thank you for being here, and thanks everyone for joining today. And maybe if you don't mind, Michelle or Warren, maybe you can put a link to the book if anyone wants to pick up the book Emotional Fitness, if you haven't, in the chat. That would be super.
And just on my part, I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but again, if you want your CCE used for today, please put your name, full name, and your email address in the chat, and I will get them to you within a couple weeks. And as Susan mentioned at the beginning, for those of you that have paid for this session, as a board, we made the decision to make these sessions accessible to everyone, so you will get a refund probably by the end of the week, early next week at the latest. Does anybody have any questions or comments? I want to thank Michelle as well. This was super illuminating.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this, and hope to see you all again soon, and the best with everything that you've written down there. May your ideal scores come true. So I just put a little bit of where you can get some books. You can just connect with me on efitforlife.ca. So efit, and it's for life.ca. There's books, the training courses, information, just email, etc. Look forward to maybe seeing and connecting with you again. Thanks, Pat, for everything you did, and
thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye all.
Piacere, Giovanna.
Brian, it was nice meeting you. We spoke on
Yes.
the phone.
We did. Yes, I remember. Yes. Good to meet you. Good to see you. And yeah, it's good.
Yeah, well, I'll
Yeah.
need to connect because you sent me an email, so I'll definitely connect. Goodbye, Giovanna.
Goodbye. Thank you so
Goodbye.
much.
Arrivederci.
Thank you. See you, Keaton.
Yes.
Ciao, Giovanna.
Ciao, Pat.
Yeah, I'll definitely connect with you for sure. I'll send you to see if
Sure.
we can meet. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, good.
And for poverty, that's a great question. What you said, you kind of came to a still.
We're a lot of
question.
heads nodding.
Do you know what I noticed for me? This is my personal experience, is that my ideal number for all those things was not at the extreme end of the scale.
Mm.
It was a point or two short. And I had to really reflect on it, and it was on purpose, because for me, you can't feel 100% of one thing because you lose sight of everything else in the value. For me personally, it's hard for me to understand fully what pleasure is for me if I don't put it into the perspective of whatever pain I'm feeling in my life at that particular moment, whether it's emotional, mental, or physical.
Yeah.
So it's always tempered by something else.
Yeah. Now, when I'm coaching, when I have a person, we can stay on one of those indicators for quite a while. You've just kind of gone through them very, very quickly, but we would take that indicator and we would keep just it's like peeling the layers of the onion and just keep peeling. And a little bit like Michela actually shared, she started at one place and she kind of eventually navigated to several other areas, if you noticed. And it was just kind of like, and if we had kept going, it would have just kept on opening up. And then all of a sudden there's like this realization that, oh, wow. So yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for allowing me the privilege of being a presenter on this. I really
great.
enjoyed it.
And did you have fun?
I did. I really, truly did. Yeah, this is like, this is where I want to head anyway. So I
Good.
told Lauren, I said, I need to put myself out there because I've just never really done that. So this is new for me. And I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
So at peak, there were 31 of us in the call.
That's
At
pretty
peak.
cool. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
really
it's
good.
good.
Yeah.
I need to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Me too.
Pat, one question. Who's
Sure.
looking after opening tomorrow?
I don't know. I put it out there in the email. I can't be there. I'm
Yeah.
training, and I mentioned it a few times. So I think someone else. I put it in the email. I said, "Who's going to do it?" Because you
Hey,
can always
hopefully
sign in yourself. Because you can always sign yourself in.
Yeah. Do you have the well, I know where the login's supposed to be. What is it?
Oh, well, if the email is icfatlantic@gmail.com, and then the password, if you'll just give me a quickie second here, I'll get it for you.
I think Michelle is going to be there.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to just stop the recording before I say the password out loud.